Welcome to another episode of Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is IK Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped you get off. And so has the guy that's sitting across from me today. You might remember him from a lot of porn, first and foremost, but he was also on the first season of Demystifying Gay Porn. Actually gave me the name for the podcast, if you remember, actually on while we were live. International porn star, content creator, producer, graphic designer, Dolf Dietrich. How are you?
I am great.
Yeah?
Thank you so much for having me back.
No problem.
It's great to see you again.
I feel kind of bad because you were my first interview, which is awesome, but also I was still learning how to use all of this audio equipment, and you know, because I can put a camera up and put some lights up and stuff, but and also just have audio on camera, but setting up a whole podcast was so new to me. So I gotta say, I'm glad that it all worked out well. Like the sound is good, but this is definitely, it's been a little more refined.
This is a upscale. This is definitely up there.
Yeah. So it's been a year. It's been quite a year. How has your year been?
Wow. It hasn't been a great year, to be honest. It's getting better. The first half of the year was rough. You know, like everyone else with the pandemic striking, had some personal issues before that. Don't want to start off on such a low, sour note, but going through divorce, which I wasn't, before. So that started around, last year, around February. And we decided to get divorced, and I was moving out, and we made the plans. I decided to move to Palm Springs, California, because I'd always wanted to live there, give it a try, and I thought it was the perfect time. So I got my apartment, and then the pandemic hit, and I moved in the midst of it, in the midst of the worst of it. So got to Palm Springs, was sort of in lockdown for the entire 4 months that I lived there. Wasn't happy there at all, unfortunately. I don't know if things would have been different if there was no pandemic. However, I might have mentioned this in the last podcast. I never learned to drive a car. I grew up in the city. And, so living in California and not knowing how to drive a car, I thought it would be fine. I was Ubering, but it was just a pain in the ass.
Probably got expensive too.
It got expensive, all that. It was 120 degrees every day. I grew up in right outside of Boston, so
so you're used to like a good crisp
I'm
day.
used to crisp days. The leaves changing, palm trees are just foreign objects to me. I'm used to big oak trees and acorns, and so it was just it didn't feel right at all. So I decided one day. All of a sudden I had an epiphany, and I said, the happiest that I've ever been really was living in New York City. This is my city. I love New York, and I came back. So I moved back August 1st. It's also been a rough year. My mom passed.
I'm sorry to hear.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
My dad passed.
Jeez, I am sorry to hear.
Thank you. And my dog passed. So it was one of those years where it was just I don't know how I kept it together. So that is the, sad part, but there's a lot of good things going on now too. But making it through all that, being really strong and tough has hasn't been easy. But as you know, I talk a lot about mental health and anxiety and depression. So I've been sharing as much as I feel comfortable doing on social media, and, really trying to put it out there, and people have been great. I really appreciate, just want to say thank you to everybody who supports me, follows me on social media, sends me messages. They all mean a lot to me. I read them all and I appreciate them.
Now, one elephant in the room that we should discuss.
Yes.
Right. So the episode that you're on, in the brief description, we talk about your retirement from porn.
Yes.
So I remember this because you left for what? For about 3 or 4 months? Or,
yes.
Okay. What happened?
Okay, that's how the year started. It was the end of the year. It was last October. And I, before I ever did porn, I was in corporate creative art direction marketing. So my, proper title is I'm an art director of marketing and graphic design. I was working in the city in New York. I was working at, magazines mostly. Worked my way up to Rolling Stone, where I was the art director of marketing, big deal. I worked at OK Magazine, Us Weekly, Men's Health Journal, all that. Then the bubble burst, the economy crashed, 2009. Got out of porn. I told this story before. Excuse me. I got out of corporate. I'm gonna put Joey down. We'll talk about Joey later.
Hold Joey up for a second. Let's
you guys. This is Joe. So this is the best thing that did happen to me in Palm Springs was adopting Joe from a rescue shelter, Palm Springs Rescue Shelter. If you're out there, please support them. He was. A lot of people have rescued dogs during COVID and to have company, which is great. So most of the animal shelters are empty at the moment, hopefully. So Joe was the last one there. He was the small size that I wanted. I love Chihuahuas. I have a thing for Chihuahuas. And when I got there, he's 10 years old. He's deaf. He's missing most of his teeth. And he just came up to me and was like, "You're going to be my buddy." And
he's adorable.
He's so adorable. So I just want to say, please, if you're considering getting a pet, adopt, don't shop.
Yeah.
That's really
Thank
important.
you.
It's important to me.
Absolutely.
So 2009, left the corporate industry, moved out to P-Town, was freelancing, doing graphic design there. I was the art director of the tourism board in Provincetown, one of our favorite places, for about 4 years. So I did all their marketing, and it was just a fantastic experience to me to do all of that in my hometown, my heart, where my heart lives. Then I met Hugh Hunter. We got married. We lived in P-Town for a summer, which was great. And then we moved to New York City. I was at that point really starting to think about leaving the porn industry and get back into my career as an art director in print and publishing. But print and publishing has changed extremely every few months. It's changing into digital. So my skill set was becoming a little bit outdated, but still looking a lot. So that 2 years, I was doing great in porn. The porn has always been great for me. I've been top of my game. So I continued doing that while looking for a job. Hugh Hunter was looking for an acting job to get back into his professional acting career, Broadway. Didn't work out. 2 years went by. I saw him getting a little sad, depressed. His light was dimming. I said, let's get out of New York. Let's move to Chicago and see what happens. I've never lived there. It's your hometown. And he jumped at the opportunity. So we moved to Chicago together. I decided at that point, this was my new opportunity to start a new life, look for a job back in my field and give up the porn. I landed a job as design director at an agency, which was great. I was promoted in my first month from lead designer to design director, and I had an entire team working under me. There was it was a very disorganized company. There wasn't much direction. However, I felt that my 20 years of experience in graphic design and art direction, I was able to manage this team. And, I had to manage budgets and metrics and all of these different things that come along with being a manager. Didn't quite have the management training, but I knew what I was doing, I thought. So I had a team of millennials that I was in charge of, 3 young ladies. And to be quite honest, it was difficult. They didn't really love taking direction. I don't know if the millennial generation is known for that at this point. And one of the young ladies, we really just didn't gel as a team. And I had asked her several times to do things a certain way that I wanted it done. And she would just give me a lot of pushback. And at one point, she referred to me as being aggressive in one of my meetings with her. And my boss came to me and said, you're 220 pounds, 6'5" guy, late 40s. She's 21. She weighs 90 pounds. The girl, blah, blah, blah. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm gay, first of all. So are you insinuating that, oh no, we're just insinuating that it looks bad, in this time in our Me Too movement and all bullshit. This. Yeah. And I said, oh, wow. Okay. For this particular circumstance, I had written her, she was taking advantage of the work from home policy that we had, not showing me the work that she had done. And I told her that I didn't trust her in a Slack message. And apparently, if you tell somebody and you put it in writing, I found this out in very corporate world. If you tell somebody that you don't trust them and you put it in writing, that creates a toxic work atmosphere.
Okay.
So I was told that I was creating a toxic work atmosphere by saying that, or by typing it, by having it in writing. So I had to go into a meeting with her, apologize, the fact was I didn't fucking trust her, and my boss didn't trust her either. He wanted me to fire her.
Yeah.
He wanted me to fire her. He was on my ass to fire this young lady, but she was the only one with any institutional knowledge of how the process worked to create what we did. So I needed her there to help me figure out how to do it until I could get the information and then fire her. Because she was toxic. My boss called her a vacuous C word in private meetings with me. Anyhow, so so I was called toxic, put on like a write-up, and then a few months later, just trying to make it work. I had in the middle of all that, I had my retirement party in Palm Springs, which was amazing. We had 30 men show up, 30 of my friends and, guys in the industry. It was catered. It was beautiful. They wrote me music. They played songs on the piano. We sang, we danced. It was an amazing retirement party. And so I was just so excited to move on to the next chapter of my life, and, got back into Chicago, continued doing the job. And, it wasn't looking good at that point because that young lady just really had it in for me. So during we had one-on-ones each week, as you do with your supervisor. And the one-on-one just went pretty bad that day. And she left the meeting, and I had heard that she quit that day. And I said, great, she quit. Problem solved. And I saw HR in meetings with the rest of my team the rest of the week in private, closed door meetings through glass doors. And I said, shit, something's going on here. I said to my colleague, I said, I think I'm getting fired. I've never been fired my entire life. I just didn't really expect it. But when I was called to the annex to meet, my boss, I saw HR there with paperwork in front of him and my boss, and I knew exactly what was happening. And I was told that I was let go because I had an aggressive demeanor towards my team. So that's what happened. I left that day, really shook. I was really shook. Yeah. I was all shook up. I got home, told my husband, I said, Hugh Hunter, I said, I've just got fired. He had a different attitude than me. He's like, fuck them. They were horrible, and they really were. And so for me, it was a little bit different because I tend to have, with my anxiety and my mental issues, I hang on to things.
It hurts.
It really hurts. It was, there was a lot of PTSD involved for me. I had nightmares about it. It was really, really, really difficult for me. It was hard for me to get past. So I decided to get back into porn because the bills needed to get paid. Yeah. But I did it with a vengeance. When I feel like I'm slighted.
You're on. You are. Yeah. I've seen your Twitter.
I am on. When I said, fuck that. When I get slighted or mistreated, I'm going to hit it with a vengeance. So I came back and I said, I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to do it even bigger and better than before. So that's where I've been at. So that's kind of brought me to the point where Hugh and I decided to separate. I moved to Palm Springs, and now I'm back in New York, and I'm doing a lot of different projects.
Well, look at it this way too. You've joined the ranks of such great people as Cher, Barbara Streisand, who, like so many people that have retired and then come back.
Yes.
So it's not such a bad group of people to be with. I saw the other day you did some party. Tell me a little bit about this party.
Well, actually, it's interesting because as I've been in the industry since 2012, I started out doing webcam work. I then moved on to filming. I moved on to live appearances, which are always my favorite, live shows and hosting. Love being on a microphone. And then OnlyFans came along, and I was against it for a while. I did get an account, but I let it, just linger, and I really didn't do much with it. I put a few things on there every now and again, but I didn't like the idea of having unprofessional content. I didn't like the idea of holding a phone or putting a phone on a tripod and trying to show angles with lighting and all of that. I just wanted it to be all set up for me so I could do what I'm good at, which is fuck and have sex. So I thought, I'm just going to do a couple things here and there with the OnlyFans. And then I met a company here, or I met a group of guys in New York. Their Twitter handle is at NYSeed, SEEDXXX.com, or NYSeed on Twitter. And what they do is they film professional content. They have this incredibly stocked, beautiful dungeon up in the Bronx with every toy you can imagine, slings, rubber sheets, bondage beds. And they're really business minded, which is what I am too. So I automatically gelled with these guys. We talked marketing, we talked business, we talked, partners, scenes, things we could do to get viewership. They have all the tools that I wanted to make it look beautiful. They also have given me the opportunity to choose partners, come up with themes, have different things. So the party that we were referring to, that you're referring to, I think, was an OnlyFans scene that we did. We rented out a hotel room and did a mini gangbang because, in this time of COVID, it's, challenging. So that is I think what you're referring to is
you had writing all over you.
I had writing all over me. See, so I have a certain fetish. I think it's really hot, whether it's me or another cum dump. I consider myself lately, I felt like a big power cum dump, which is great. Sometimes I'm a big power top, but lately I've felt like a big power cum dump. So I had writing all over me. I had one of the assistants write, whore, slut, all these words that I think are empowering, and I can take them back. I did get a little slack though, because the first guy that gave me a load was a gentleman of color, and he wrote BLM, Black Lives Matter, on my ass because I had the notch marks.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, so I had the notch marks to say, how many loads I was getting, but he decided to write BLM. And so I had, a couple of things. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you know what though? I can see, I can't make excuses for anyone giving slack for that at this point. I really can't.
I know.
And I get it. Everybody has fans that believe a certain way, but
yeah,
I don't know when it comes to anti anything.
Yeah, it's rough.
So yeah, no, it does. It sucks. I'm kind of glad he did that. I think it's, it was brazen of him to do.
It was. But I didn't know it was happening, of course, until after the scene was done, and it came post edit. So that was that. I filmed a few other scenes with them, and we're going to partner up some more. In fact, here's some news that I haven't told anybody yet. They've given me the opportunity to be a director for my first scene.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, because I really want to move in that direction a little bit. I've always
you have it under your belt at this point.
I mean, art director. I mean, I've directed photo shoots for Fortune 500 companies, where they're there are just so many moving parts, and I love that. I'm a very organized person, and I love I love that side of it too. So I love being a director. So I think I'd be really good at that.
I honestly think that would be such a great fit for you, especially, you could always get in front of the camera. That's always, you can always do that.
Sure.
But if you enjoy that, and lighting is probably something that comes to you easy. That's something that's really missing in a lot of studios. The bigger studios in California, they have 20 people on set. They have a whole bunch of stuff. But for the smaller studios, I like throwing up a light here and there. A lot of times people like the authenticity of it. However, cleverly placed lighting says so much about just in general. Like, it gives a tone, it sets a feel. Like it's really, really cool.
I'm so into it, and I have so much respect for lighting and tech and the people that know about it. So I have picked up over the years, whether it be from my porn experiences or my experiences in corporate art direction, camera and film and lighting techniques, which I'm excited to work with. And then of course there's the positions and the views and all that good stuff. So
tell me a little bit about some kinks and fetishes that you've developed or have shot, or I know the cum dump thing is new, right? Or it's a feeling right now that you have.
Yep.
You had mentioned, you texted me on Twitter or messaged me on Twitter and said you were going to work for a macrophilia site, which is something I touched on the podcast. How was that?
Amazing, actually. It's been 2 times that I filmed for them.
Okay.
Once was last October. And then once was this past weekend. I can mention the name.
Yeah, please.
Carnal Media.
Carnal Media.
Carnal Media was run by an awesome guy named Wolf Legrand.
Okay, I've read.
Yes. And they have several subdivisions, or I guess they're called, they're parts of their studio.
Now, are they based out of Brooklyn?
No, they're based in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes. So some of their sites are called Twink Top, Fun Size Boys.
Oh, I'm familiar. I saw they did. I think they did Family Dick.
Family Dick.
Okay.
They originally had Mormon Boys. There was a big, drama about that
They're called missionary boys now, I think.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on there.
Well, the Mormon, the Church of
Yeah.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, right? Is that Mormon church?
Oh God, I don't know.
They are ruthless.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine.
Well, yeah. So the owner of the company was Mormon, so he left that.
I see.
So he must have had some whatever.
Oh, he had the experience too. He's like, what? He probably had all that underwear and all that.
Yeah. So
the magic underwear.
Exactly,
shit.
magic underwear. I love that.
No, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, but no, it's great. I mean, they're a great company to work for. We filmed some amazing content. There's 3 new sites I think we filmed for this weekend that I can't even talk about, but they're going to blow the mind of the community. They're just going to be really great.
Yeah.
So, but some other fetishes that I've been, experimenting, and I always say this, as I get older, I find more things all the time that excite me and intrigue me that I didn't know that I liked. That, in general, I'm pretty vanilla. People don't really know that, but I like certain things that other people like. Like I like pretty feet, so I have a little bit of a foot fetish. The one thing that I want to try that I haven't tried yet, though, is, and I think this is becoming a trend, I've seen it a lot, is feminization of masculine men.
Okay.
So I consider myself pretty masculine, but I'm also, I love show tunes. I love Judy Garland, and I love, different things like that. But I generally, I am who I am, and I feel like I'm pretty masculine. But for someone to demasculinize me and, put me in stockings or something like that, I did do a scene for Gentleman's Closet with my awesome friends Anthony Duran and that was great. So it was a really, really good scene that I filmed with Jake Morgan with stockings and stocking sex. Yeah. But I want to try that a little bit more. I think it's kind of fun. I love seeing fishnets on a guy. I like to be the top and fuck a guy in fishnets. It's not about drag. It's more just about that part. It's the legs being covered in stockings. There's no heels involved. There's no wigs. There's no makeup. It's just, for me, it's like the stockings on the legs and like ripping it open.
Yeah.
And plowing the guy with stockings.
Have you done an FDM scene?
I have not. I've been approached. Buck Angel and I have been in discussions for like a year about doing it. Buck isn't filming too much anymore, but he definitely said he would, come out of retirement for me, which is very nice.
Well, I've been tasked, I think, with Treasure Island just did one called Bussy.
Yeah.
And I shot Atlas Grant and Ari Coyote.
Yeah.
Awesome seeing my second FTM.
Great.
First one was on RFC, and it was insanely popular, but also insanely hated because there's this, I don't know, it was a lot. But I think I'm going to do the sequel, or at least I'm going to attempt to do the entire thing.
Yeah.
And I know Ari Coyote's coming back in town. I'm not sure if you're interested, but that could be something. I love that. The power play, how tall you are, and I think that would be a really, really hot scene.
I think it's something that really needs to happen.
I think your scene with you did a scene with Joel Someone for Champ Robinson's site.
I did.
That was hot.
That was
really hot.
Yeah.
You did a little foot worshiping, and
I did
Big Brotherish kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
that was really
fun.
Yeah.
And then Marco Napoli, his husband, is so cute.
Yeah.
He came over here the other night to pick something.
Oh,
up.
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say anything else.
You picked something up, all right?
He picked something up. Yeah.
Cool. So you're exploring some fetishes and kinks. You're exploring some stuff all around. What else is going on? What else is going on?
This year, it was slowed down a little bit by the pandemic, but I have a replica of my penis and being made that is already in production. I've met some guys at 2 German guys, Dietmar and Martin, and they're awesome guys. Pigload.com, and you can check them out at Pigload on Twitter.
Okay.
They're going to be producing the likeness of my penis, as well as my hands and my feet. Oh. And then we're going to do my hole for a fleshlight, my asshole, and my mouth. So you can build your own Dolf Dietrich sex doll, basically.
Very
at home.
Nice.
And the cool part about this is that 10% of the proceeds are going to go towards a charity of our choice. And it's going to be a mental health charity.
Okay.
It might be pineapple, which is...
I like.
Yeah.
Leah, I met with Leah and I spoke to her. They're
great.
She's a sweetheart.
They're great. So, the production has been slowed down a little bit because of the materials and all of that and the pandemic. But I have seen prototypes; they're amazing.
Okay.
I can't wait for that to come out. So that's coming out this year.
Sweet.
We're filming a film this weekend. One of my good buddies, Brian Bonds, is coming tomorrow to stay with me for a week, and we're going to tear it up. And we're filming a movie called The Life and Times of Pandemic Man Pussy. And I play the lead role.
Okay.
And I am a whore that has really upset that all the bathhouses are closed. So I have to find interesting, unique ways to go have safe COVID sex in the city.
Is this a short or is this
this is a full film.
This is a scene.
It's a full film.
Okay,
There's
so
like
it's
5 scenes. It's a film.
Okay.
The very last scene, I hope it's not a spoiler, but I'm at a gangbang and I'm getting gangbanged, and then my husband, who plays Brian Bonds, pulls down his mask to let me know that it's him, and it's all good, or kiss and blah blah blah. But it's all great. We've all been COVID tested.
It's Hallmark.
Yeah, it's a Hallmark moment. It will be. So that's for Charged Up Media. I'm also Charged Up Media does I think it's the 3rd year they're doing I guess you'd call it a convention it's called Pause Fest. This will be Pause Fest 2021 in Memorial Day out at CCBC. I've been positive for 10 years. Most people know that. I'm out about that. I'm also an advocate for undetectable equals untransmittable. I'm one of the spokesmodels for that campaign. And so this Pause Fest is really just to embrace people's feeling about it and just to be open as you can be. And some places in the country you can't still be open, so this is great for people just to meet and talk about it, have fun, have sex. And so that's happening at CCBC Resort Memorial Day weekend. It's the same company that owns up Charged Up Media, which is filming the Pandemic Man Pussy movie.
Okay. So we're going to shoot a scene relatively soon. You're going to have Liam Archer at your disposal for what you'd like.
Woof.
I want to ask you one last thing.
Yes.
We all went through this pandemic. We're all going through sheltering in place. And for somebody who is very open about your mental health issues, what advice would you give people that are struggling during this time, to people who are listening, or just models, or in general, not through this pandemic, which is an added extra?
Yeah. It's been very rough. I mean, my time in Palm Springs was rough. I felt very isolated. Coming back to New York has been good for me because I'm able to walk on the street at least and see life and people, and I didn't drive when I was out there. I've been FaceTiming and catching up with a lot of people that I make a list of people that I haven't talked to in years. And I look them up and I text them and I say, want to reconnect? Do you want to this is the time to reconnect and really try and get back to like people that you missed and find out what they've been doing with their lives via FaceTime and things like that. Basics, and turn off the news. Don't watch the news so much, and vote for Biden, please.
Yes, I know. Vote. Get out there and vote. Do your thing. And yes,
please,
hopefully
Biden Harris ticket.
Yes,
yeah.
I know. Sweet. All right, so we're gonna get down to business now.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much for being on again, for doing this again, and giving me some of your time. I appreciate it. You have a special place in my heart, not only for for doing my podcast first and foremost, giving me the name, but all the scenes that we've done that are so awesome.
Yes, some of them are just iconic.
Yeah. And now let's make another one for Treasure Island. I want to keep making awesome scenes.
Let's do it.
You've been watching Demystifying Gay Porn. I am your host, Ike Grande. Demystifying Gay Porn is available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. Demystifying Gay Porn is on X, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram. And if you like what you're watching or listening to and want to be a part of the creative process, head over to patreon.com/demystifying gay porn, where you can help support this audiovisual podcast and YouTube channel, and I can continue making content like you've just enjoyed. Once again, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped you get off. Cheers.